I was about to say happy birthday. That's not, today's not your birthday. I don't know what is wrong with me today. Anyway, little start over. Hello, everybody. And Amy Lyons is here. Yay, Amy. And Amy's in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'm excited to have my good friend Doc Reed on. And this is one of the last. Where are they now? Dustin is here, and Dustin is going to be the last. Where are they now? So I'm excited in a couple of weeks to have Dustin on. Charlotte's here. She's in Atlanta. It's great to have everybody. She's in Georgia. I don't know exactly where. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Y'all probably don't care. Natasha, it's nice to have you. Tell us where you are popping in from. That would be awesome. And it's just nice to have everybody live. And so, Doc, the other day I said, well, do you want to do it? What day? And he said, oh my gosh, Diane, I have just been now recruited into this team meeting for a project, and it will be on Wednesday at the exact time for the next while. And I was like, well, we could do it in October. And he's like, no, I mean, the next while through January.
2024.
I was like, I do not want to extend this out. I had an idea Dustin would be the last one. So I was like, okay, well, Doc, let's just do it on a Saturday. So I appreciate you guys all popping in and being here on a Saturday. If you didn't know, if you're watching this later, you can actually join live. This is one of the things that I like to do. And I am going to be trying out some new things with maybe doing it on YouTube and stuff. So we'll just see. And I'm going to send you guys a email next week. There will be a little survey. It's like 3 or 4 questions about if this would be like, thank goodness. Yes, we'll get off Zoom. But I would like to know from y'all what your preference is. I think I'll try it on YouTube, but I did just up my webinar Zoom status thing. So that's an extra $500 that I've just spent. So I don't really want to not anyway
use it.
Yeah. So, but I'm willing to try. So just so you guys know, Natasha's in Vancouver, Canada. Awesome. So in the chat, if you want, hey, Brian Yan, in the chat, if it's your 2 says to host and panelists, then that means only me and Doc can see it. But if you want everyone to be able to see what you're writing, because this is how we are a community and we get to know each other, you can just put your 2 as everyone. Then that way we're able to, get to know each other a little bit better. Anyway, so my good friend Doc, I don't remember when we met, Doc, originally.
Yeah, I don't either. I couldn't put my finger on it.
I was kind of like, I feel like I've known Doc for my whole life, except I know I haven't. So it's been since I've been doing the podcast more. It's good to have you too. And you've come for almost as many episodes as Amy Lyons, I think.
She's definitely the holding the crown on that one. I definitely have missed my fair share of them. But yeah, I love being here and hearing the community jump in and see what's going on. So yeah. And
you said something, I didn't okay this with you. So hopefully you can just say rooster, interrupt me if this is a problem. That's the safe word. Okay. He said something to me that I think we all feel. I see Doc's work. I see not only his work, but I see how he's grown and I see what he's doing. He's taking on. And he said to me the other day, he said, I've just been looking back at my work and I don't see a lot of growth in the last whatever years. I mean, who feels like that, right? Can you write in the chat, me too, or something?
Yeah.
Because, or whatever. Yes. Or something. Amen. Sherry Holly says, I think we feel like that. I feel like that a ton. Dustin says he feels feel like that since I hit 40, something changed.
Yeah.
I think it is real, but as you look at and you hear about what all these people have been on in the where are they now, they may be feeling, I think Doc was the only one that actually said it. And I was like, I feel like everybody feels like it looks like everybody is just, oh my gosh.
Excelling.
Yes. And you're like going backwards or you're, treadmill's not working. Have you ever
Yeah.
done that at the gym? You like get on and everybody's going and there's not a note on your treadmill, but you can't figure out how to get it to start. Like that's what it
Yeah.
feels like maybe. But I have
Yeah.
seen you grow, and I've seen you grow in just taking on different kinds of jobs in more leadership. So there's been tons of ways you've grown.
Yes. And to to counter that, I think part of that was that I hadn't taken time to look back and reflect. And once like you sent over the questions and I started trying to figure out like, what have I done? Like everyone lost 2 years of their life from 2020 to 2022. So sometimes it feels like it's still 2019 a lot of times. But yeah, I have not been as good and diligent about going back and doing a retro on my life and freelance and things of that nature to really understand where things have gone, where things have come, and where and document that growth. So yeah.
You need a documentary. That was terrible. Yeah, add that to the dad jokes.
Yes, yes.
But it's true, and I think maybe we all do, and I think that this is maybe a good idea for everybody to kind of look back and really look back and think about
Yeah.
some of the answers to some of these questions for yourself. And I'm sure that I could. I mean, it always feels like if somebody was asking me about my numbers, which I don't keep up with, I would be like, I don't know, because to me, I look at how many people are here on a Saturday and I feel like that's a win,
Yeah.
like to me, I'm super thankful to have y'all here. Okay. So
You said something to me a couple years ago about success. You have to define it for yourself. Like it doesn't have to be the metrics that everyone else out there is putting out there. You don't have to adopt those and champion those as your metrics of success type of thing. And so I had tried and felt like I had put or tried to put my family first. And so it's kind of like I'm okay with not seeing as much growth in my career because I had said that several years ago. But yeah.
I think that's good. And you got challenged a lot in that area
Yeah.
greatly. So I think that and we'll talk about that. But can you tell everybody a little bit about um where I think we our last interview was maybe 2016.
Yep.
But tell everybody if they don't know who you are, they haven't seen the documentary. Um Tell everybody a little bit about your background and then what you're doing currently.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, last time I was on the show was 2016, probably mid early quarters. But yeah, I had just moved from Wilmington, North Carolina to Charlotte, North Carolina, and was working in-house at a healthcare company. I had just had our third child, so I was commuting back and forth for about 5-6 months, trying to sell a home, trying to not lose my mind with seeing how quickly a newborn grows in a week's time. But finally got everybody up to Charlotte, and we got settled in, trying to find housing and things of that nature here. But we were stable as a family unit, and since that, we've added yet another child. We now have 4 kids, and yeah, I get to work from home now. Still, like as a consultant with a new company, Method here in Charlotte, and I was looking at pivoting into the UI, UX, and strategy and things of that nature, just trying to understand how to think about design outside of traditional brochure logo branding and things of that nature. So I've been doing that for about a year and a half at this point. So that was a goal I got to check off the list here in the last couple of years. And but yeah, still doing the freelance and illustration on the nights and weekends type of thing. So but yeah.
So back in 2016, I can't remember exactly when you left. You were working at a church.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then from the church, you went to a design firm.
In-house, yeah, healthcare company.
Okay, healthcare. And you've done things. When did you do like start doing events and the event graphics and like
Oh
what was your
man.
job at some of those earlier things? Because now it's more you're kind of being able to take it and kind of brand certain
Hmm.
aspects.
Yeah, no, in all honesty, like it started out a lot of the first event and brand like conference branding I ever did was a freelance gig that I landed. They selected the logo. It was sort of a paid spec work, like, hey, we'll pay you your price to develop a logo. If we choose it, then you get to brand the conference. And they went ahead and picked mine. I ended up hiring a bud to help pull off the Engadget's initial Expand conference, and that was a wild ride of getting up at 4 in the morning, working till 4 a.m. or from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., then go to your day job, then come home, do family, and then try to, hit it again, trying to get a jump on things for 4 a.m. the next morning. And we did that for about 4 months. And that was tough, but paid off, our second mortgage at the time with all of that extra work. And so I had that goal in mind. I needed to hit it. And so that sort of set me up for some of the event branding and conference things of that nature. Was able to do some more with another couple of churches down in Atlanta, and as the healthcare company, that Engadget project was basically the okay, yeah, this guy does event branding. We're doing conference branding here as well. He would be a great asset to the team type of thing. So that was a direct freelance job to led to me getting hired with the healthcare company.
And then I remember a couple years ago, this is not on our sheet, but I remember because I was walking around outside and talking to you on the phone, I think, and you
Yeah.
were telling me about, and I don't know if this was the Santana job or not, and but you were like, I'm directing, I'm like directing the team, or I don't. Anyway, I don't know if I'm saying the right thing, but it was like
Oh, you're
taking
good.
you from a just being the designer to
Hmm.
also being, and
Yeah,
that was another that's
that
like
was.
putting on different pants.
Yeah, very much so. And the first time you put on a new pair of pants, they're either like super baggy, super stiff, super tight. You don't like them. Rarely, in my case. I don't know if everyone else has felt that way. Be like, I have yet to find a glove. I put them on the first time. It's like, oh yeah, this feels nice. But yeah, it definitely, they were growing pains for sure during that Santana project where it was. I had to trust myself to lead the team as opposed to sort of relying on the previous art directors or creative directors that I was working under or working alongside with to make things happen. So it was very much an exercise in trusting your gut, and when things don't go right, having the gumption to say, hey, I don't like how this is rolling. We need to be X, Y, and Z. Let's get our ducks in a row type of a thing. So, but yeah, that was very much a okay, yeah, I can do this moment. So
Well, I think a lot of times, and this would be something I would ask anybody who's watching this. Maybe it's those moments where you felt really like, oh, I shouldn't be here. I'm not quite ready for
oh yeah.
this. Ugh, right? Because those, they either say, you know what, I tried it and I did not like it and I'm not going to do it again. Or I tried it, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I'm going to push into it again. I feel like I have more information. If somebody hadn't ever
Yep.
done it, I would be able to actually be an asset. And I think if we think about those times when we feel like we weren't ready, but we did it anyway, those
Hmm.
can be kind of defining. Do you have any other defining moments like that for you that maybe me and you didn't talk about?
um I think there will be little micro ones along the way where it's kind of like, okay, you get treated poorly by somebody at work, you make a mental note, okay, whenever I'm in this position of authority or power or
Mm.
whatever it is, I know this is something that I responded to very, very, uh
It didn't set well with you.
No, it did not. And so you make that mental note and go, okay, I will not be that type of leader. You're gonna have your own issues that you bring. It's sort of like, my kids aren't going to go to therapy for the things that my parents screwed up with me. They're going to go for a whole new set of problems that I'm dumping on them. But yeah, so it's I think getting a call to actually do illustration for like a larger product or project, not just a, spot illustration type of thing that was sort of in the wheelhouse, but like I'd wanted to do some mural work and got tapped for doing some murals for GitHub, and then got tapped to do some illustrations for Jessup University, campaign out in California. And those all were like, I can't believe it's finally happening. I've been at this for 20 years and I'm finally getting tapped to do these things. A lot of the other stuff, like doing prop bags for Tammy, I think that had happened the last time we chatted in 2016, but that was one of those like, this is weird, get called to do a prop bag for a movie, and one off, your name doesn't show up in the credits. You're just sort of like, hey, yeah, I did that, but like no one else in the world is ever going to know that unless you say it. But things start, falling into line, and you start going, oh, things that I'm doing, people are seeing out in the real world, and it's fun. You're always going to be that weird of like, hey, can I take a picture of your shirt that I designed? And yeah. So those, I mean, I don't know if that'll ever get old for anybody.
No, I don't think it does. But that also tells us, or somebody who's maybe just starting in their career, 20 years. It took you 20 years to do the thing you wanted to do. But that is like, I don't know this actress, Brie Larson. I guess she was in some Marvel movie. Do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about how this one actress was rejected. She said she got denied on about 98 to 99% of her auditions. And I'm like, and she did it for 20 years, just kept getting no's. Wow. I mean, kept getting told she was terrible. And I feel like when we put our stuff out there, when you're putting a new series or you put something out there, you're not necessarily getting rejected because you're not literally sending it to only one art director saying, hey, I want to do this. But it still feels like it. Like I've been putting this stuff out there for 20 years, and finally somebody's like, I've finally proven myself that I can do that. Like that's sort of what it feels like. But that also, with that Brie Larson, she ended up getting an Academy Award or some Emmy or whatever big statue thing for actresses. Clearly, I'm not in the know, but she ended up winning something because of her acting. But I think being rejected so many times and still continuing to go back for 20 years, it's like
two choices at that point.
And that is gritty or you're crazy, right?
Yeah. No, totally. And I felt like that. And I was recently talking with a bud that is like, I sometimes I wonder if I'm even doing good work because I'll submit to, get into awards and things of that nature, or, and won't make it in. So it's like you stop wasting your money and your time and just like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not at that echelon or what they're looking for, or, the story I'm trying to tell isn't clear enough. And so you start, all of those narratives are running through your mind going, what am I missing? What's the secret sauce that everyone else has that I don't? And stuff like that. So yes, Natasha, I've got 3x3 on my radar. So thank you for putting that on my radar, actually. So
I'm now going to look up 3x3. So I don't know what that is either. Okay. So, I want you to show some things because this is a visual. Most people are watching it on, and for any of you who are listening on whatever podcast, there's some great art about to be shown. So show us the stuff from GitHub. So you mentioned that first as, somebody finally sees something and is like, hey, you know, can you do this?
Yeah.
And these are murals.
Yeah. So yeah, these were get murals that were done for GitHub offices here in North Carolina. They're actually down in Raleigh. Initially, they were looking for Raleigh native artists and things of that nature to jump in and answer the call. And I sent out a bunch of names and things of that nature. And the art director at the time was just sort of like, any chance you're interested in doing this? I'd like to send your stuff along as well. And I was like, oh yeah, I thought this was like strictly Raleigh artist type of thing. And he's like, I mean, North Carolina counts. And so I was like, yeah, sure, throw my hat in. So I was trying to sort of like you be more of a connector and generous with anything that you hear. And yeah, I was able to get the opportunity to build these two murals there in the Raleigh office. I'm hoping to get down there to actually take some photos where I guess I could Photoshop out the 360 circles on the carpet before I put them up on my site. But I'd love to get some actual like decent photographs that aren't pixelated and things of that nature. So, but yeah.
I think they're great. And so, did they give you a color palette, or was that all you?
That was primarily me. There was stipulations of like, hey, this will be a workplace for people, so try not to be like neon colors and you know no grotesque, no morbid, anything like that. Keep it something that you you would like to walk into and pleasantly or be pleasantly surprised and intrigued and things of that nature. And so um
You should have used
it
a grotesque typeface, like because some of them are
that's such
called
a good
grotesque.
idea.
That would have
Such a
been,
good idea.
like, oh, well, you said no grotesque, but I'd use this grotesque type because they'll
Yes.
be like, what?
Type
Anyway,
joke inbound.
I know.
I love it. But yeah, so those were really, really fun. That these projects or the murals here felt good to me on several levels because it was, a company that was well known, that the logo is like, oh yeah, you did some work for GitHub. That's awesome. But then there was also it combined design and illustration, and then allowed me to add, I do murals as a service to the list of offerings and things of that nature that I have. So yeah.
I love that. I just think that it's fun. It also is different to see your stuff so big and to also
Yes.
it's energetic, but both sides are very different and so it uses you have you are I always think of there are people who are more illustrators and then there are people who are designers, and I would say I was more of a designer than an illustrator, but I'm trying to do more illustration. But I don't
Yeah.
think anybody's ever going to be like, oh, I'm going to hire Diane to do some weird robot or blob thing, but it's something that I can do on my own. But you really would rather be this artist illustrator, but I think this is one of those things that shows that this is where the artist designer is so tied so closely,
Yeah.
because you are thinking about the spaces and how they work together and the energy between one full big piece and then one thing that has multiple kind of ways of viewing, and this is, I think, one of your superpowers to me.
Oh, thank you. I
Okay,
had not thought about that as a superpower.
it totally is. Okay, so I want to know what one of the biggest hurdles that you've faced in regards to, let's just say, freelance, because four
Okay.
kids, pretty
Yeah.
young, there have been other things. I mean, just trying to raise kids, I think, is hard and working.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But what is some of like working a job and that is designed? So it's not like
Yep.
you're working one thing and it's not creative, and then you come home and you get to do this creative thing. So what has
Right.
been a challenge for you in like having a real job, but also doing freelance
Um, a lot
and
of
a
it
family?
has been knowing where to focus energy. because there is that vast pool that I like to play in from like the artistic standpoint of like photography, design, illustration, printmaking, like all of those things I've been in love with since college, and I haven't. Uh, uh, I'm looking always for a project and a way to blend all three of them or four of them together, and a lot of times I'll get into something and then I'll realize, oh, or at least early on, I was sacrificing time with the kids and Julie to try to figure some of that stuff out, or to be in the studio and experimenting and playing and things of that nature. And it got to the point where when I was in the studio, I was feeling extremely guilty for not being with the family. And then when I was with the kids, I was feeling extremely anxious of, "Oh, I got this idea. I need to get up into the studio and make this work." So the the best thing that I was able to do for myself was to put time on the calendar and say, like, and talk about it with my with Julie, and be like, "Hey, is it okay if like I take Tuesdays and Thursdays and just guard them and put them on the calendars? Like, this is my design time where I can do drawing or design or like whatever." And she's like, "Yeah." And so it's been sort of a thing that Tuesdays and Thursday nights are spent like for me doing those type of exercises, and that greatly reduced the anxiety of being in the studio and feeling like I'm missing time with my kids. And it greatly reduced the, when I'm with my kids, I can be there and not be like, I really need to get back to the studio. Um, to say that I do that well all the time would be an absolute lie, because there are days when, you know, things pop up and you've got kids that are asking real life questions. And so it's kind of like, yes, you are more important to me than, you know, working on this piece right now. And I don't know if, I hope looking back that they would see that. I know that there are definitely times that I have not done that, and I hope that those aren't the memories that they will hold on to. But yeah, so time management has been difficult, just with all the things that you're juggling, all the communities that I have found over the, you know, the 2 decades, and wanting to be involved in people's lives and giving and helping. And I think some of that ability, or not seeing that growth that I wanted to, those explosions, um, may have come because, you know, looking at the time that I spent investing into others, like it was easier for me to see where to help others pivot than it was for me to see my own stuff. And kind of from like a parable story, that's like, no, you gotta get the plank out of your own eye and be able to see clearly before you can help others. But yeah, I was never able to quite figure that out from like a business and creative standpoint for myself.
So when you were, or when this happens, when you have this idea and you're like, "Oh, I need to go up to the studio," do you have something now that, do you keep like a note thing on your phone, or do you have like like a little pocket sketchbook or something that you will just jot them down, or do you have a
Just
way to
ideas of what
capture
to work
that?
on. That's part of the problem, honestly, is trying to figure out a system that worked. Like, notes is usually my go-to for those quick, just start a new note, and then it used to get transposed or copied over into Evernote, but now I'm trying to get Notion to work and things of that nature. So it's a sort of a bouncing around of that early on. And I think capturing it initially in, excuse me, notes, that way I can get it out and not think about it, and then organize it, you know, picking a day of the week and going, okay, this is the day that I'm going to organize all of the notes, get them organized into Notion, and sort of start knocking out to-dos and things of that nature. So
That's good. This is just a random thing that I haven't asked anybody, but do you clear out your emails every week?
inbox zero has eluded me.
Mine's at 90,000.
Oh, I'm better than you though.
Oh, well,
I
great.
have 300.
That's terrific. I think 300's a win. I'm like, I'll
Yeah,
never
no,
get it
100%.
better. Like,
Like
it's 4 over
85% of
4,
those.
buddy. We're not saying 100% anymore. Remember,
I forgot. I forgot.
we're trying to make a new thing, new cool thing. It's not
New
100%.
catchphrase.
Everybody, we're gonna start saying 4 over 4. Okay, go ahead. I know,
Um,
Dylan. Me too, buddy.
um,
He said he was anxious because of my 90,000. I know it's terrible.
yeah, yeah. Most of those are like junk mail that you
Oh,
ended
I'm
up
sure.
on
Yeah,
some place to like
yeah.
you checked into a website and now you're permanently on their mailing list, no matter how many times you unsubscribe. So
Yeah, Mark says he clears this out daily. Way to go, Mark. Whew.
you just delete everything, Mark,
Yeah,
and
you're like,
if
if
it's
you don't
gone, it's
get it,
gone.
you better email Mark again tomorrow because
You
he's
don't
gonna.
hear from Mark in 2 days. He has deleted your email.
Right. Okay. So back to your you were saying I just randomly. So you when you're with the kids, you are trying
Yeah,
to figure that out.
yeah, yeah. Um, Capturing those notes in the note app and then transitioning them over. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So that's your method. Okay. So
Yeah.
um how about staying creative? So one of the things that I think I hear a lot and I also suffer from is like, "Ooh, I want to try that."
Oh
Ooh,
yeah.
and you make things. You're, always trying new things. So do you get stuck creatively?
All the time. Yeah, it comes and goes, and a lot of times the ebbs and flows come with the freelance work. Like I will go into a season of I have been busting hump, trying to get work done and out the door, meeting deadlines for work and then freelance. And so you come off of those projects and you're like, all right, sweet. Foot's off the gas. We're coasting for a little bit. Uh, I'm less likely to be as, diligent of jumping up into the studios on Tuesdays and Thursdays for, 8 to 11. Just from a standpoint of like, I've been sitting in this chair for 16 hours for the last, 2 months. I need to not do that. So, but at the same time, there's that cycle of inspiration where you'll see something or something will enter your mind and you're like, oh, that's, you start chewing and thinking about things from that standpoint. So there's that cycle of I don't know if it's necessarily the burnout, but that fatigue that if you don't stop at those moments of fatigue, it will push you into that burnout frame or that burnout zone.
Do you think that so right now you're working remote? Do you feel like because you don't have to I mean your commute is from one room to another room
Yeah.
that has helped?
Um, I wish that I had been more diligent about that 45-minute morning commute, 45-minute evening commute. And as opposed to being like, I'm going to take a leisurely breakfast with the kids for the year and a half that COVID locked everybody down and things of that nature, as opposed to being like, I don't have time to exercise. Like, oh, okay, get up normal and you have a built-in 45-minute window that you can go now run around your neighborhood and then come in, shower, get ready like you're going to work. And the commute, you would just worked out through your commute. Now you're sitting down 8:30, 9 o'clock, ready to rock and roll. I spent that time more on myself and kids than I did like actually making it work for me type of a thing.
So because you're remote now, is that so there were things with going remote that I loved because then I didn't have a 30-minute drive every time. I was saving gas, I guess, but I also could get up and I take a shower at night. So I'm like in the morning, bam, I'm here ready to go.
Ready to roll. Yeah.
But what I realized is that there was all this liminal time or whatever that I didn't get. I couldn't I didn't take a break to go by somebody's office and talk to
Yeah.
them,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and just the community part, where if you're on a team, maybe you're doing more connecting, but sometimes you just want to be. I mean, I remember standing up for most of my lunches in the kitchen. Sometimes John would be there, sometimes he wouldn't, but that was what I did. I did lunch in 15 minutes and back to the computer during
Oh yeah,
COVID,
yeah.
right?
It got to a low point where it's like, I'm gonna go downstairs to go to the bathroom just so I can get some steps in. And it was just like, this is silly. You need to be taking better care of yourself than, just constantly sitting in this chair all day long.
Well, and I
And I
think
think some of it too, COVID, there was this, I need to be present anytime anybody sends a message or an email so that they know that I'm here and working.
right.
Which didn't, I don't think it did anybody any favors. It just sort of, everyone was fatigued, and yeah.
So sometimes when I'm in a creative slump, going into more design stuff or more art stuff doesn't necessarily always help rejuvenate me.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do that's maybe not in your normal workflow? To what
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you?
yeah. Homeschooling children, you get to help with paper writing and rough drafts and math and
So have kids and
yeah,
do their homework. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, yeah. That'll this is a whole nother episode of that. But yeah, getting outside has always been one of those things that has reinvigorated me, whether it's a walk to the woods back behind the neighborhood. You can sort of feel like you're on another planet. Just it's okay, we're just in a pine forest grove type of a thing. And especially with the kids, there is a lot of awe and wonder that they see and bring to your world. Like I remember growing up and loving dinosaurs and the stars in the night sky. And when my kids, my youngest, she's 5, and she'll see the moon in the middle of the day. She's like, "The moon's out. Why is the moon out?" Like, and it's just that curiosity and wonderment of what's going on is pretty awesome. And being able to work alongside them. I know in 2016, like one of the things that I was doing was lunchbox love, where I would do these little doodles, put them in my oldest's lunch, just as a, hey, you got through the morning, I'm proud of you, here's a doodle, I love you, thinking about you. And started collaborating with her, like, I want you to do a little doodle or a sketch, just some squiggles, and then I'll turn it into something, type of a thing. So that's been, something that has continued. Those games have evolved a little bit over the years, but I'm still able to do that because I had a 5-year-old in 2016, and I still have a 5-year-old now in 2023.
That's good. Okay, so but the child has one child has grown,
Yes,
and the other
yeah.
one just was born. Okay,
That first 5-year-old is now 13.
so right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so in I want you just to show some more work, because
Yeah.
in one of the pieces that you did, the Santana Farms,
Yeah.
when you're going out, like you have a project like this, and I don't know if they send you all these images or if you requested these or you just started going out into the world and finding this kind of flower or this seed or whatever. Can you
Yeah.
talk through this, and then how this was really an important project in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. This was that project I think we were talking about earlier, where I stepped into that creative director role, and hired a team to come alongside to help build out messaging and the website and design support and things of that nature. And so we flew out to the east, or from the East Coast over to the West Coast, to help this eucalyptus farmer there in San Marcos, just north of San Diego. And I'm walking around at the farm, and this is something I picked up from talking with Jeremy Slagle over the years, of I could do this remotely and never set foot on your property or your campus or your business, but I know that there's going to be things that I'll miss and nuances that are important that would get glazed over in just us talking through Zoom. And that's 100% what happened. Like one of my teammates, Sean Fox, that the picture there of the eucalyptus seed pod there on the far left, that was Emmanuel went out to the garage during a break and like, hey, let's everybody get up, buy a break, grab some water, use the bathroom. He came in with this ginormous tub. And I'm like, what in the world is happening? And he sets it down and it is full of those eucalyptus seed pods. And like some of them had started opening and drying and dropped just millions of seeds into the bottom of this container. And we're all just like, what in the world is this? And it just sort of went back to the fact that he absolutely loved what he was doing and just being with the plants. Like, if he didn't get up in the morning and stroll through the rows of his, greenery and flowers and stuff like that, like everyone in the family was like, what's wrong with what's wrong with him? Is he okay? And that was just part of his ritual, type of a thing, up before the sun crested and out watering and just walking amongst the rows type of thing. So that was a huge portion or a huge part of getting out and seeing what the client was about and being able to tie pieces of their story together so that it did mean something to them. And I say that because a lot of times logos are empty vessels that we pour value and meaning into over the years, like the Nike check swoosh. Like, yeah, it was a check and a swoosh, and over the years they have poured millions of marketing dollars into making it mean something. When you see it, you feel something, you feel like you can do it. There is, that goal is obtainable type of a thing. And the sort of the same thing with this, like we wanted to give them the understanding, like, hey, you can use these elements like the eucalyptus seed pod and the wax flowers as a talking point of, it's close to our heart. And, we believe, we're here growing and farming from the seed to the flowers that we, harvest and deliver to the wholesalers and to their clients type of thing. So it's, from that very, very start to the very end where those flowers get shipped out was, that logo doesn't necessarily say that, but because we were there and we were able to see all of that, we know that that's part of the story, and conveying that to them, then they're able to help communicate that, over the years as they continue to pour that meaning into their logo and their brand. So
I love that. I love that story. And I love that I didn't know that this was how this came to be until you showed me this earlier today. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And I think maybe we as designers, as we're doing something like that, we could push to be like, hey, it is going to benefit you if I am there with you. If I can see some of the things that you just passed by on a regular day, so when you're doing something like this, where you get an idea or you get a freelance job, because this was a freelance, how are you telling your friends, hey, I'm looking for work or I'm accepting? How are you getting, I have the question of that I've tried to ask everybody is, how do you get your name out there? Conferences, agents, groups, friends, what do you do?
In all honesty, I am probably I know I'm very horrible at marketing myself. It is all word of mouth, and the Santana Farms job came through because I met someone at the Brand New Conference in 2019, and he worked at a place. Somebody's like, hey, I got a friend that's looking for help building a website, and it's like, hey, Levi, do you know anybody that would be able to do website? He passed along my name, and I'm like, I don't do websites. I don't know why you gave them my name, and turned that project down. Actually, and the next morning I woke up and I was like, that was dumb. And so I wrote him back an email. I was like, hey, the timeline that you had and what you're asking for, I don't think are doable from my understanding of what a proper website would be. If you're looking for a digital footprint and a, more or less like a landing page poster, we can definitely get that done. The ask came in at Thanksgiving and they were looking to have it done by January 1 and launched and live. And I was like, that's not going to happen. If you're wanting a landing page poster coming soon type of thing, we can definitely make that happen. But I think there's a lot more work that needs to go into this. And that was an extremely difficult process for me to feel like I was telling someone how to run their business. But at the same time, like, I knew if they're going to pay a bunch of money, like, I wanted to at least be worth, if not like make money off of the money that they spent doing this type of a thing. So that was where, like, hey, this discovery phase, like, we found out like they came from Green Valley Flowers Wholesale. There was a competitor that was Green Valley Floral Wholesale. And so it was the difference of flowers versus floral. The invoices and orders were getting shipped and sent to the wrong companies. And so there was a huge confusion in, that market for them. And so the rebrand happened, the renaming happened. And, I'm really, really excited about, the potential of things that can come from differentiating themselves.
So this was also critical because you were like, I don't make websites. And this is when you and I were talking. I was like, dude, you don't have to make the website. You know, friends, you have people. You just have to get with somebody who can do it. And then you direct it. And you were like, yeah, I can do this. And, but it is you have trusted you. I have trusted me. If I don't think I can do it, then I might not say yes for the job. And it's big. This was a big thing. This is really important. They needed this. You knew you could do the branding, but there was this other thing that they needed. And this is like that step of faith that you have to take because you as art director is very different than you like, oh man, in 2 months, can I learn web design? That was not your mentality. And I'm glad of that. But it was like, you do know a lot of people who can.
Yeah. And that goes back to like getting your name out there and by way of meeting other people. And I think I have probably gone in too heavy on just going to the creative circuits and meeting creatives that, like, they're all looking for inspiration. They're all looking to make connections and learn how other people are thinking and doing and making. But I had completely skimped on like, oh, there's a business conference that's happening in, Charlotte. I don't want to go to that. I don't want to meet people that actually have money to hire me to do things. And it was just like, this is the dumbest decision that I could have ever made. But
it's hard to go and be the odd man out at those, especially if you're not an extrovert. It's really difficult. And then
we're much more comfortable looking at typefaces and
lots of tattoos. Adobe. We need lots of people with lots of tattoos and holes in their faces and things. Okay, so Ben had a question, and I want to go back to it because I said I would. He was asking about your Love the Doodle collab idea. How has that evolved, or do you just do it with your 13-year-old and it hasn't evolved?
No, it definitely has shifted and changes. They've gotten more elaborate. We've started coming back and coloring them together using watercolors and paints and things of that nature. Like, some of that art partnering has transitioned into like, I'm not going to build your science fair project booth board. I will help you, and I will guide. Like, she did the science project of, if you butter, why does butter side toast, always land face down type of a thing. And I was like, it was just bad luck. No, but so she did like butter and jelly and things of that nature. So like, we were up here over at my analog station. This is my digital station. I got an analog station over there, but and we were mixing up paint to look like jelly and painting and cutting out cardboard, and we went out and glued dirt to the cardboard so it had like this toast texture to it type of thing. And it was a lot of fun being able to get, paint under our nails and, do science projects that way. So that, I believe, is because of those early on like art games and things of that nature. But we'll still play the doodle game is what we called it. We'll scribble something out and be like, hey, what do you see, type of thing. A lot of it'll be like in passing as we're waiting and stuff like that, for a sister to finish something up, or something to end. But yeah, they've gotten a little bit bigger. We've progressed over into Procreate, and we'll play it on Procreate a little bit and teaching them some of that. It's difficult trying to invite them into the digital world without being like, here's a screen for you to put your face in front of for the next 18 hours of the day type thing. So
as we're in front of our screens all day.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want us to get to I want to ask you these will be rapid fire. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. How do you go about learning new skills?
Oh man, some of it's necessity, and when you hit a roadblock, you jump into Google and teach yourself through the University of Google, YouTube, Skillshare, and things of that nature. So a lot of it is just hitting problems that you don't know how to solve and being self-sufficient enough to like, I'm not just gonna, hey, how do you do this? But try to teach yourself so that you can remember later.
Is there anything you're trying to teach yourself now?
Page layout. I'm trying to go back to be more experimental in the page layout and creating zines that do combine illustration, lettering, photography, and just some wackadoo David Carson page layouts. I
do some grotesque type.
Grotesque type, yes, exactly. Horribly drawn type. Yeah, but that right now is the current project, on top of just trying to continue to stay up with the UX tools of Figma and Sketch and things of that nature. Like that's been a harder transition learning that than I want to admit. And some of it is just like I had 20 years of muscle memory in the Adobe Creative Suite, and so I don't have as much time as I do now that I did in my 20s. I am interrupted by, kids needing their butt wiped, or like, hey, will you snuggle with me, and things of that nature. So I'm trying to, the learning that I do for my job, I'm trying to relegate that more to my 9 to 5 working hours than I used to. Like,
it'll come back. You'll have time, because I think I was there.
Empty nest will be university time.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to show, if you can, show your screen one more time. I want you to show that the big thing of all of these illustrations. It's a big page. And then I want you to go to Jessup, and I want you to talk to us about this, because in this, there's lots of you have still been doing lots of work. Some of them are commissions, some of them and freelance projects, some of them are just you experimenting.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about like why you've created different styles, or why you are continuing to learn different things or try different things. Why is that so important for you?
Some of it is just one, I'll see something that somebody does and I'm like, how did they do that? And so it's a lot of it is just reverse engineering to understand, and then figure out, is this something that is remotely possible to be incorporated into my workflow? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And so there's that cultivating of, yes, I like this, or no, I don't. This feels foreign to me. So that's where a lot of it comes from. And some of it just comes from, I just need to get away from the computer and throw some ink at a page and see what happens, just to get it out. Because there is this switch in my brain that when I'll sit down to the computer and like I do a logo, it has to be clean and work with the grid and things of that nature, where when I get to work in, my analog table, it's very much like, screw the grid, like get that thing out of here. I'm just going to throw paint and see what happens, and, use big brushes and palette knives. And there's this freedom that happens. And so I think that's where a lot of this, like with, like this third one in on the top row, is much more in this like painterly, scratchy, splattery. You can't do that digitally well.
So which one do you always start analog?
It's like 50-50. Sometimes it's just like, I don't want to get tools out, or it's late and cleanup's going to be a beast. And so I'll just jump in, and do sketching on the iPad, either in Procreate or Fresco, and then jump into, refining it, painting, playing that way. And then earlier this year, I was like, I got to go back analog and just ditch the digital for a minute and just play and it be more for myself. And then I found myself like, I really like how this looks and how this feels. I don't know where or how to put it into the work that I'm doing. So that's sort of where that page layout has come back in, of maybe this zine outlet is a way to think through things. So
is that a way that you have avoided burnout, when you feel you go from the digital to these projects are an exercise in the non-burnout? You're not doing that for that, but that helps you to not burn out.
Yeah. And some of it is like, obviously the two here in the top right are more like story driven, with the things that were happening, 2016, 2020, where there was this conversation around like, the flag doesn't mean what it means to me, type of a thing. And I was hoping to try to have it be something where there was a conversation that allowed to happen from those, as opposed to just left and right barking and never listening. And you're not going to get anywhere if all we're doing is barking and pointing fingers, as opposed to sitting down and having a harder conversation that is uncomfortable, and things of that nature. But a lot of the other ones are just like, I really liked this photographer's portrait that was taken and shared to Pinterest, and it's like, I can't ever do anything with this because it was based on somebody else's photograph. But that goes back into the bank of, how can I light friends of mine, invite them over for photo shoots, to have references of my own to do that with. So
yeah. So I love that. So I just needed to get that burnout question in. But I can see a change and a direction and a shift in that you're expressing things differently than what you were doing in 2016. I still think it all looks super rad, but
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. So there has been things that, and this is kind of going to the what's next. But you may want to share your screen one more time. So, what is a piece of advice that you would have told your past self 7 years ago?
I always liked the idea.
The Jessup. Oh yeah, I wanted you to tell the Jessup. Go back to that? Oh yeah, go to the Jessup. This is the more recent, right?
Yeah, this project wrapped up last year, and it was basically the first time I was able to get hired to do portraits. And that was something that I was like, nobody's going to hire. Yeah, nobody. I love doing portraits and I love, that, but nobody's going to hire me to do a portrait of them. That just seems stupid because there's cameras now. And lo and behold, this project came along and I was like, okay, yeah, this will be awesome. I look forward to seeing how to pull people's personalities out while using, a brand standard of colors to try to unify them, and elements for everybody to help tell their unique and individual story of who they are, but then try to capture a portrait of them as well. So,
and you use collage. So there have been other times, other pieces, other things that I have that are collage. You have a love for collage that I think you work amazingly with. And then you were able to kind of pull in some hand done things, as well as some of the pre-work was maybe
Yeah.
more collaged, but then they kind of pulled back. But that again is
Yeah.
working with
And
clients.
a lot of this, yeah, these were all set up so that all of those pieces could move in and out depending on the application. If it was, going to be part of an animated video, like all of those individual pieces and backgrounds were set up so that they were on different layers and they could parallax and move and just sort of add to the depth. So there is a lot going on in a lot of these collages, and that was just an abundance of assets for them to then go and play with internally, type of a thing. So,
and this is one of the things where we talked about, as you have this. Oh, book covers, Natasha says. Yes, you should
yeah.
talk to Paul. Paul does book design. He always needs good illustrators for
Yeah.
covers. But like the mock-ups here are so important, and in event graphics as well, because you've done
Yes.
portraits for event graphics, and it's important to be able to show what this was, that
Yeah.
you, yes, can work in a series, but it doesn't look the exact same. But
Right.
how did this school use these portraits? And I think that again, if you're working with a client, you need to make sure you get the rights to be able to use that on your site.
Yeah. And that all of the mock-ups here were done with the agency Storyland out in Pasadena, I believe is where they're located. I could be wrong. They're California, but yeah, the team internally did the mock-ups, and when I saw them, I was like, oh man, this feels so much better than just sort of like the lone illustrations. Like, here's the final piece. Use your imagination of what it was used for, type of thing. So it definitely was. It put it in context.
Yeah. Okay. So, you've collaborated. You can really quickly talk about the collaboration, and then you can say what piece of advice you would tell.
Cool. Yeah. So just getting out there and meeting people, you're able to meet some of your design heroes. Like I got to work on a Jim poster with Jim Madison for Korn and Alice in Chains and Under Oath. And if you'd have told me that in 2002 that I would do a poster with Under Oath, I'd have laughed at you. Getting to, do a couple of things with Hawk, building a relationship and friendship with him over the years has been fun, and just sort of dreaming up silly things that, like, hey, let's do a presidential campaign that gets crushed by COVID and no one going anywhere. But that, opens up a door to do Adobe Live, and then to meet Val and be able to just sort of communicate with other people that are like, hey, I admire your work. Like, oh, snap. Like, I've admired your work for years. I'd love to work and collaborate. And so, friendships happen if we just stop hiding behind our keyboards and desks and things of that nature. So, but yeah, as far as like the advice to my younger self or anybody else out there is, it's okay to want to have a couple of tools in your tool chest, type of thing. Like, I like the analogy of like being a Swiss Army knife of, I do design and illustration and page and event graphics and things of that nature. But I think I focused so much on seeing how other people were doing it that I ended up looking like this monstrosity that yes, it'll work and do things, but like, who's going to carry that around in their pocket? Nobody. And so, yeah, that if we could figure out a way to take this and bring it back down to manageable things of what we like, I think we'll be better off for it. So,
and this makes it easier for you to market yourself instead of trying to be everything for everyone.
Right.
Like, I love that you said to the Santana people, I don't do websites, and then you came back and said, but I can hire, we can as a team. It's just looking at yourself in a new way. So one of the reasons you have had, it's been, and I know we're going to go over a big shocker, people. We always go over. I'm so sorry. It's Saturday. Maybe it'll be okay. So tell them a little bit about what's happened as one of the big challenges in life.
Outside of having 4 children,
outside of the kids. Yeah.
Well, you have have kids, and then pandemic hits, and then you get back on your feet, and then you get word that your wife's been diagnosed with breast cancer, and that'll knock the wind out of your sails real quick. And then, that was 2021, the first time that we went through that. And then here this past year, we've had a second diagnosis, came back. Thankfully it's localized and whatnot, but that'll knock on your tail real quick of there's not enough already going on that now you have to juggle this treatment as well. So yeah, it can be a lot sometimes.
So it is super a lot all the time. I don't think anybody's like, oh yeah, this week I got diagnosed with cancer, but no big deal, right? Like it's always a big
biggie.
It's always a big thing. But when you are raising 4 kids, you're working, if you're trying to do a little bit more at home and you're trying to maybe pay for extra medical stuff.
Yeah.
You and I had this conversation. You're like, I was thinking if I needed to raise so and so amount of money to pay for this stuff, I would not be, a lot. There's not enough time in the day. And I said, well, this is a great time to have the community kind of come and just at least, and you're like, hey, we can sell art. Julie does great art as well.
Yeah.
You do great art. Again, I'm going to give you guys some links so that if you guys want to buy something, that would be great. But there's also, you guys did a GoFundMe, and I love how our community can come together, and and because it really is, you've done tons for the community. And anyway, do you want to tell them a little bit about what it is and why? And I just put the link, and the link will be at the top of anything. If you're on YouTube or you're listening, it's right there. Go ahead.
First off, I appreciate the encouragement to share. It is, the last week has been refreshing in a very, very weird way. Of it stopped feeling like I was trying to hold things together, or Julie and I were trying to hold things together. When we verbalize and put it out there, it's like, hey, this is what we're going through. This is what the, possible best case scenario is looking like. Help, for lack of a better word, just raising your hand and saying like, hey, we know everybody can't, financially, but if you can share it, and somebody else that would appreciate it, type of thing. But yeah, that basically is what it is the treatments that were coming down the pipe. There were a lot of complications down the road that we weren't necessarily comfortable, or didn't feel like, with her family history, medical history, like just didn't make sense to jump from one cancer to another cancer as a byproduct, side effect of the treatment for this cancer. It's like, this doesn't make sense. And so where we ended up with a lot of it is, it's not the standard operating procedure, and so therefore, like, insurance is sort of like, well,
we're going to cover this one that's going to give you cancer again.
Yeah.
That's the one we're going to do.
Yeah. Well, I had never thought about it like that, but it definitely makes you go.
This one doesn't make us as much money, Doc. So we're not going to.
And I hate to even say that, because I know there are some amazing medical professionals out there. But
it just wasn't what you were comfortable with.
Right. Yeah. So, and you sit in the oncologist office, and he's like, yeah, here's what we're looking at. And you're like, okay. And that is that it? And he was like, that's like a 6-month cycle. And I was like, and how long do we have to do that? And he sort of looks at you, and there's a split second that feels like an eternity. He's like, 2 to 5 years. And you're just sort of like, mental math. I'm like, I'm not great at it, but that's well into the, the 6-figure territory, approaching, $500,000 if it's one of those things like, it all goes wrong. type of a thing, and the extra things of that nature is like I can't focus on that. And Julie has been amazing at bringing me back from the edge of worst case scenario, just as a plan for the worst case, hope for the best case. Like I was doing a lot of planning for the worst, and she was bringing me back to like, okay, but let's experience and live for the best case scenario in these moments in time. So, but yeah. And I know a lot of people that I've seen here in the chat today. I've seen your name come through. Thank you.
So I just want to make sure everybody, if you're listening, it's GoFundMe, gofund.me/1AD26CF and then the number 7. If you don't know what I said, there's a link at the very top of everything that you will see. And I just encourage you for the next month, I am going, or until he reaches his goal, Julie reaches they get their goal. Yeah. That's going to be something that I'm going to talk about just to remind y'all, because you may be like me, I get paid once a month and I get paid on the 1st. So mine will be, you want to maybe for the next 3 months, you give a little every month just to help. And, I think that this is one of those things that we can do to help. And it maybe means that we don't drink Starbucks every day or something. And your Starbucks, this Starbucks is going for Doc and Julie, And yeah. I just would encourage that. That's something that I'm going to do. And so I just want to read off a couple other things, but they are still selling their artwork. You can find that at I am Reedicus, REEDICUS.com/store. You can also do the thank you, Dave. The mentor, he's a mentor at ADP list. You can Doc-Reed is how he does that. His real name is Brian. Shari asked, she's like, is Doc a nickname? And I said I would ask here at the end. So do you want to tell that story really quick? I'm just going to really quickly read. So LinkedIn, Doc Brian Reed, Instagram, I am Reedicus, Twitter, I am Reedicus, Dribble, I'm Reedicus, and Medium, I'm Reedicus. But GoFundMe is going to be 10 over 10. Great. Hey, that we could have used 10 over 10 instead of 4 over 4.
I like that.
100%. We're killing that phrase. Everybody says it. You'll see. You'll listen. Yeah. Okay. Tell them about Doc.
Doc. I picked Doc up about over 20 years ago at this point. But Brian's my birth name that my parents and Julie are the only ones that call me that. But yeah, a lot of it stems from a love of Westerns and Bugs Bunny and What's Up Doc and Doc Holliday and things of that nature. And a buddy of mine in college just one day, hey, Doc, come give me a hand with this. And I was like, I will take that all day long. So
isn't it funny how sometimes if somebody else just makes it okay, then you can be okay with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the first time I wore my blue glasses, Will was like, I like those. And I mean, my husband and my best friend Tara were like, don't wear those out in public, Diane.
Julie commented the other day. She's like, I really like her glasses.
They're on Zenny for $14. But to me, it was a little bold. Like when I went to my grandmother's funeral, I have some red ones too. They're not quite as vibrant. So I wore those. My mom was like, oh, those are better, it was less embarrassing or something. Anyway, but I just needed one person that I, thought highly of. I guess it's not like I don't think highly of my best friend or my husband, but my
family is one thing. When you actually have somebody that's not blood or related to you, you're like, solid choice. I dig it. You're like, okay, cool.
But anyway, I hope that we can raise some money for you and Julie. And I'm so glad that you asked. I think that it's just really important that we ask for help.
Yeah. Well,
instead of trying to only get 1 hour of sleep for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that Ben, you asked a question, and Natasha, you asked a question. I'll catch up with both of you individually about those and get you some of those answers.
Oh, sorry, I missed those then.
Oh, you're good. Natasha asked about a dream project that I'd love to work on, and Ben asked about the story behind Redicus. So I will hit you up both separately, and or leave. I'll send a note, and you can put in a show note if that's something that's
Yeah.
possible. Okay,
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm now
cool.
wanting to know those answers as well. Um, Next week is a Wednesday, and it is going to be me if I end up doing it. And then the next week is Dustin, and then we have some more people scheduled for the rest of the time in when we're here. I will not be doing it from my dad's at the church in Georgia. So I'm cutting those days so I don't have to do that, thankfully, hopefully. But Doc, thanks so much for
Yeah, absolutely.
doing this with me today. And I just am glad you're my friend, and I'm glad I've seen you grow so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all that you are to everyone in the community. It's not just for folks that show up on the podcast. It's for anybody that meets you in person. You're a connector through and through, and have introduced me to friends. And yeah, I appreciate you and what you do and bring to the community. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I just am glad you're my friend. All right.
Yeah.
I will see you guys maybe on Wednesday. I haven't committed to it because we had John's mom's funeral yesterday. So I just have, and it was the first week of class. So just trying to breathe a little. And so hopefully, but for sure, September 6th, Dustin has already said yes, and I will send him that information so that he can give me that stuff. So, but for sure, I might step in and do a little one on this coming Wednesday. But if not, don't get mad at me. But I will send y'all an email, let you know. All right. Thank you so much. And I'm going to hit stop.